Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day 2 of the AV-ICN conference and seminar. We begin today's insightful session with a panel discussion titled Unlocking AV Growth Opportunities in India, Diverse Sectors, Endless Possibilities.
Hello everybody, and thank you for being here. And I'm very excited to moderate this session with Kuldip Kamat, a very renowned and respected figure in the AV industry in India, and all the knowledge and expertise that is associated with India's AV industry is attributed to Kuldip Kamat, and he has the right set of vision and sense of mission for the AV industry in India to be on this panel and give us some insights into the topic, unlocking AV growth in India. This is a very, very important subject for AV-ICN Expo and for the industry. So we are all fortunate to be getting the insights from Kuldip Kamat, and then we have Annu, who's an entrepreneur, and she has started a tech varsity and is contributing to the AV industry in a very meaningful way in giving companies what they need the most, that is training. And am I right, Annu? Yeah? Okay. And then we have Mriddul, who has accomplished a very difficult task in this country, that in establishing distribution and sales and connectivity with the market, where a brand like Sennheiser, he is also an entrepreneur. So when he speaks, and when Annu speaks, and when Kuldip speaks, of course they will give us insights to how they have established businesses within the AV industry. But essentially, this session will explore the insights into how to unlock AV growth. Now, as moderator, I have a message for the panel that we must acknowledge that the government of India and the people in government are completely in sync with the AV industry. We have a very, very good and a positive government in place, which is spending, without exaggeration, millions of dollars in the AV industry towards education, smart classrooms, airports, metros, every kind of aspect where AV is very essential. And I would like to say that it is well established that the AV industry in India is exploding. All right, it is already exploding. We have AV in banking, we have AV in retail, we have AV in education, hospitality, in the infrastructure, as in the airports and metros. Every aspect of life today, we have seen that AV is up front and in our face. There are integrated screens everywhere we go, and it's becoming omnipresent, the screens that we see in our daily life in India, almost like a developed economy. So yet, there are aspects to the AV industry which may not be apparent to us. This panel will explore those aspects from the knowledge of the speakers, and yet I'm looking for each of the panelists to put their finger on one button, some secret catalyst that they may have in their knowledge that will unlock AV growth in India. So I will first ask Kuldip to tell us as much as he can on what are the dynamics, what are the implications, what are the hidden problems, and how we can unlock AV growth in India. Over to you, Kuldip.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. I think, we have to look at, I prefer using workplace technology or just technology rather than just focusing on only AV because, of course, number one, it's moved between AV and IT and security and a whole bunch of things as a common technology. I think there are a few aspects in terms of growth opportunities. I think Tier 2, Tier 3 cities is definitely going to drive a lot of growth in terms of just regular sales numbers. We're seeing a lot of GCCs being opened up in smaller cities like Indore, Vizag, etc. as well. So there's going to be a lot more action in not just the major metros as growth happens in these other regions as well. I think the second point I want to make is that we have to look at AV or UC technology, not just from a traditional meeting room and a boardroom or a training room space, but there's also a lot more experiential technology that's happening with corporate broadcast applications, immersive audio, and more entertainment-based systems, which will contribute to a lot of the growth. And last point I want to make is that it's not just hardware; it's also a lot around services and software that we have to think of in this entire ecosystem.
Right, Kuldip. I got your message. So just to recap, you believe that there should be a focus on Tier 2 and Tier 3. And you specifically pointed out that a lot of GCC setups are coming up in Tier 2 and Tier 3. And that would be a great catalyst for AV growth in India, of course, at a very knowledgeable level. So just for a few seconds, can you just tell the audience about what exactly are the ramifications of a GCC? And if you have some knowledge about some GCCs that are in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities.
So typically GCCs or Global Capability Centers are larger Fortune 2000 type companies who set up not just BPOs or KPOs, but generally a lot of their shared service operations. Without taking any specific names, as cities like Bangalore, Pune densify a lot of these companies want to look at options from a real estate as well as a quality of life for their employees in other parts of India. As infrastructure is built, as power gets built, as waterways, etc. get built, that's when you start seeing those kind of cities, even Mangalore kind of things, cities grow. I think the last few years I've personally seen more Indian companies do that, but slowly we are seeing a few multinational companies, smaller companies as well, outside the Fortune 2000, taking up commercial real estate space in these cities.
Right, and which are the, what does a GCC do actually, and can you rattle off some GCCs that have entered into the country?
I mean, a GCC basically, like you take like a Ford Motor Company or whatever, I'm just any large Mercedes-Benz type company, they'll have their research, they'll have HR operations, they'll have back-end sales operations, etc. It's not just taking calls or just doing very specific work. I think so. That's the kind of if I have to rattle off 2 or 3 names, and of course the larger banks have their presence as well, right? So that business, according to me, will explode in this decade.
Okay, so we are going to expect a lot of GCCs to enter the country.
They already have. We're just kind of, I mean, from a growth opportunity, that's right. The most obvious one.
Yes, that's a very, very crystallized area of growth, the GCC centers that are going to come into the country. And as he rightly pointed out, it's not just the Fortune 500, it's the Fortune 1000. So it's not just the big marquee names like Ford, a lot more GCCs are coming into the country. So what is the implication for an AV integrator or an AV consultant, for example, if they get a GCC contract? So what exactly do they have to deploy in a GCC center? Kuldip, I still want you to help us.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, the traditional ones are obviously Microsoft Teams rooms, Zoom rooms, etc. Those are the most obvious. around with workplace technology like for speech privacy or signage and wayfinding and room scheduling and immersive learning, training rooms, etc. So there's anything to do with audio, video, lighting, control, collaboration. And then, of course, you have more PA paging systems for integrators to do that. Now a lot of it is run over a network.
Right.
So those kind of solutions, and
Right.
then of course the post-sale service aspect of it. So
Right.
consultants, as well as integrators, manufacturers, distributors have a lot of
Right.
yeah.
So,
Lot to look forward to.
so an AV integrator or a AV design company will have to have all these assets to deliver all these various AV applications, and that knowledge they must already have. How is that going to happen with all the new integrators? How will they grab all this information?
Maybe by coming for the show.
Thank you. So, of course, we have the AV-ICN Expo, and yes, it's a difficult business. And the big question is about AV technology, AV understanding. So, it's a big arc out there as to how we will have more companies which know about all these applications. Which they need to have, all the knowledge they need to have, whether it is the security angle, whether it is the Teams room, or whether it is all the other applications Kuldip mentioned. So at this point, I will shift from Kuldip to Annu, and she will tell us exactly how she is contributing to getting the new companies which are entering the AV industry into how they are going to be able to get to know and have experience and expertise in delivering a AV solution, end-to-end AV solution.
Yes, absolutely. So if we are here to unlock the AV growth opportunities in the diverse sectors, so I would start by discussing about the education vertical. So basically a decade ago or maybe 15 years ago, institutes like IITs were probably 4 to 5. Institutes like IIMs were probably 4 to 5 across India. AIMS was just 1. So these universities by the government fall under the category of institutes of national importance. Not only is the government trying to promote these institutes, they also pump in a lot of funds to education vertical per se. If you see now, there are more than 15 to 20 IITs across India, around 15 to 20 IIMs and AIMS has crossed 10 already. So it's a huge AV growth opportunity for integrators, for newcomers to tap into, and with the AV coming over IP, there are these hybrid, collaborative experiences that are delivered seamlessly. So these universities, they collaborate with an MIT, with Harvard, and they create lots of modules and exchange programs, which is another very big scope for AV growth in our sector. So not only do they have these interactive smart classrooms, but they also are now more and more dependent on the auditoriums, the multi-purpose rooms, where all the people from across the globe can be brought together and exchange of knowledge can happen seamlessly over IP. And let's talk about rooms, infrastructure, acoustics, audio, video. Each and everything plays a very vital role. So amongst us are people who are very proficient with audio. Amongst us also people are who are very proficient with video, be it manufacturers, be it system integrators, or be it consultant as well. So I would say that education per se is knocking it out of the park, and with the government support, all the integrators, consultants, we have a huge opportunity here.
Right, Annu. I agree with you with the opportunity, but what I want to know from you is what specific AV knowledge streams are you delivering in your business?
So coming from my background, basically I also have a background of system integration. I worked for a company called Genesis IT Innovations. It's still there, doing well. And after that, I moved to Harman, which was into audio manufacturing and delivering top-class audio even now, from speakers, amplification, DSPs, microphones, consoles, and then now moving to my company, which is Lewminadio. So basically, we are into key account integration per se of auditoriums. Give an example of one of our clients, which is Isha. And so that's a little bit off topic.
No, it's not.
Probably house of worship.
Right, you're delivering AV to them.
Yes.
But what are you teaching, or you have a tech varsity?
Yes.
What AV knowledge are you disseminating by virtue of a course or any such activity that is, what you're doing to facilitate AV companies to learn and to have AV experience?
So we have multiple programs within the tech varsity. We have for already people who are in the industry something called an MNO, so which is a mass measurements and optimization course. It's a 3-day course wherein we teach you to use the most sophisticated softwares and how to deploy a system within a matter of, say, half an hour. That's the complexity that has been, brought it down to something that can be done in a very simpler and easier fashion. That is the measurement and optimization. Second is the system design and optimization that takes things to a deeper level, which also talks about the physics of audio and how the actual physical placements of the products, where to put to get the maximum output. So basically it's another complex thing that we teach as well, and do a lot of hands-on session also.
Right.
Now coming specifically to our integration market, so we have something called Audio Design Fundamentals, which is the ADF. So this is a 6-month course, because we believe that anything that you practice for about 2 semesters or 6 months, it tends to become muscle memory and sticks with you. So this is what we believe, and that is the minimum time that it takes to make people understand on the design front. It's a course open to consultants, individual designers, integrators, and even the OEMs.
So just to recap, measurement and optimization, and then there is audio design, and you're teaching both these things, and you have students, and that's great. So there's audio, and there's AV design, and measurement and optimization.
Correct.
Just to recap.
Correct.
So this is what you are involved in, disseminating knowledge of these 3 aspects. And in all the years that you've been doing this, or all the time that you've been doing this, how many students have you taught till today?
Well, if I had to count, I mean, it's not...
100, 200, 500?
More than that. We've been thousands, probably.
Oh, wow.
Been thousands. So I'll also give you an insight of... So we have a facility right now, which is a 3,000 square feet plus facility.
6,000?
Sorry, 3,000.
3,000? As large as that?
As large as that.
Okay.
So where we, have a ceiling height of about 26 feet. We teach rigging. We teach, line array systems and point source and everything under the audio purview.
Audio?
Yes.
More of audio?
More of audio.
Okay.
So we have a history of about 20 years plus in the industry.
Okay.
And we've been working very closely with all the OEM brands like Harman, Das Audio, Adamson, SSL. So we've been doing their courses. So that's why I say that in thousands probably.
Okay, so I get the impression that it's very quite audio-centric, but it's very integral to AV.
Yes.
And you can't have an AV system integration without knowing the audio, no doubt about that. And, I mean, in the course of starting the magazine, in the course of writing editorial for the magazine, at the very beginning, 3-4 years ago, we used to hear things like, oh, every electrician now says he knows how to set up the audio in the auditorium, and he knows about what standards to use with the wires, which we all know that they don't know. So every electrician is not an AV consultant, nor is he a AV integrator. So you are disseminating real knowledge. How much are you focusing on standards and in your teaching courses?
So basically, we bring the global standards into the picture.
No, do you teach the specific standard?
Yeah, we do, of course. We do that. So we are tied up with all the global leaders across the globe. So all the manufacturers, hardware, software. So we also conduct their factory trainings in India.
I see.
So they are all standardized and vetted by them as well.
Right.
And that is what we are focusing on. It is a global standard. So an individual, coming to Techversity, investing time, which is so important.
Right.
So we would like to emphasize in, yes, money is a small portion of it, but time is what we want so that we can churn this out together and create a global standard so that there's no boundary, You won't be restricted to just India. So we talk about Middle East, there's a huge opportunity there, like you said, for the technicians, the entry-level guys who fix the AV. So we talk about technicians, we talk about crew people, we talk about stage managers, then we talk about other more sophisticated things that are done, the consoles, the system design. So
Okay.
all in all,
Thank
each
you.
and everything.
Okay, thank you, Annu. So what I want to tell the audience is that we, the AV-ICN platform, apart from the magazine that we have created, and in the initial period, we tried to explain through the magazine editorial that standards are very important to follow in any AV integration that one might take up. And we started the Certified AV Specialist course, and we have done 6 or 7 courses. We have, I think, gone through about 300 participants. And we have 3 days. So one day is audio, one day is IT, one day is video. So we teach all the basic critical AV best practices, or rather the AV's design implications. Like, for example, if you have an auditorium and you have a particular size, and you have a particular size of a screen, and it depends on where everybody is sitting, and what should be the correct size of the screen, how should the audio be organized. We teach all of that in our CAVS. We give them all the knowledge which prepares them to be an AV person. And we focus a lot on the standards that are applicable to the products. Now, I think there's a gap here, serious gap, because integration, whether it is over 5G, whether it's AV over IP, using 5G, or whether it is any integration of a complex AV environment, it's not just about the audio, of course. It's about the real integration of the entire complex that you have. And as Kuldip mentioned, there's a security angle, and there is other angles to AV integration. That knowledge for AV integration, I don't think right now in the country there is any valid university degree or otherwise any such platform which is really taking to task those integration knowledge. So yes, there are companies like Kramer, Crestron, Extron, and other companies also which have their own training, and we know that they train about their products, but not generic training on AV integration. I would just like to corroborate this from Kuldip for a second. If you can tell me a little bit about how do we teach the new AV companies about all this?
As you correctly said, a lot of manufacturers have taken the initiative. There's also industry bodies. And I think ours is an industry which is a very practitioner's industry. You can put 100 folks in a classroom, but unless they use their hands and they actually experience the technology, the learning won't happen, right? And we've seen from the West that there's a lot more experience-driven learning, trade schools, and also exposing youngsters to things like even music concerts helps a lot to get their interest in, and then a hands-on approach, because we're not doing something very fundamental out here. We're doing a lot more applied engineering.
Right. So I would like to bounce to Mriddul, and he will give us the insights on basically, if I may say so, how to sell AV. So Mriddul, tell us your secret insight. What do you feel is the one button you will put your finger on as a catalyst for AV growth?
Good afternoon all, and it's a pleasure being a part of this panel. One thing, if you ask me, AV is all about experience. What I learned during my time with various companies which I worked with is once you go out, start doing demonstrations, proof of concepts, that is where the client also understands that is what they want. We were talking about education, we were talking about what global standards are. Most of the clients are not aware of what they want. They have a basic idea of this, okay, this is something which is required, but how? And that is what plays a big role when you go out, do a POC, do a demonstration, make them understand that this is what will happen. And incidentally, I have a recent example. I was meeting someone and this client asked me, do you have an experience center? And I was like, no, I don't have an experience center because I like to do the experiences on site. Because you are not going to have the audio at my place. The audio is going to happen at your place. What are your acoustics? How it is placed over there is something which will matter more than what will happen within my facility. So these are certain things we need to understand, appreciate that the level of knowledge within the clientele, within the people who are making those tender documents is also limited to the fact that they've seen it somewhere, they've experienced it somewhere, but how will it behave within their own facility? How to make it more applicable to their requirements? And that is where customization comes into play. That is where understanding the basic standards come into play. And that is where standardizing the entire thing comes into play. So we've got this big word coming around, Dante. So that is a technology which is helping the audio companies becoming more standardized. Because normally what was happening was there were certain standards by certain brands, certain standards by certain other brands. They don't talk to each other and the customer is bound to buy products from that particular brand only. Why? If something comes up new, we need to have those standardized things in place. And that is where Dante is now coming into video as well. And I hope and pray that all these things start becoming more standardized, because ultimately what we are selling to the end customer is an experience. We don't want them to fiddle around with the equipment on a daily basis. It should be as plug and play as possible, as user friendly as possible. At one point of time, during my sales days where I was actually going out in the field a lot, I used to say the products which are placed in the conference room are a catalyst for your meeting to happen flawlessly. If half the time you are fiddling around with the products, you are wasting your crucial time. The content of the meeting is more important than fiddling around with the equipment. So that is what I feel, and that is where experiences play a very big role. Because then the customer understands, okay, this is what I want, or this is what I don't want at all. And I'm not sure how many OEMs are actually going out and doing this. And that is a change which is required. Because it is incumbent on us to go out and explain to the customers that this is what you want.
I got your point. So your point is that the one way to unlock AV growth in India is to make sure that as far as possible, of course, standards are followed. And bigger point you made is that it has to be experiential and there has to be an experience. Even Kuldip corroborated that there are trade schools abroad which teach the actual configuration and actual specifications of all the complicated routers and scalers and all the other equipment that goes into an AV integration. I think Kuldip wants to say something.
I mean, there's very little happening globally as well on trade schools. I'm just saying in India, what I meant was trade schools could be a good segue into training because they already have, for example, for electrical courses or IT hardware courses. So why not for audiovisual and collaboration pieces? That's what I meant.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. So I'm very happy that we have crystallized this point that unlocking AV growth in India, we need a lot of trade schools which teach and give an experiential training on the AV aspect of integration, whether it's upscaler or whether it's all of the other routers and other integration equipment, right? So that is a big gap in the country. We need it, and that is a good takeaway from this session, that we need to have that and focus on tier 2, tier 3 cities, not to have them coming to the metros. And so you need to deploy these trade schools, and if I may say so, then in places like Pune and Bangalore and all of these centers, that should be the focus, and not run and put them up in Chennai or Bombay, right? Do you agree to that, Kuldip?
Yeah, I mean, even smaller cities than, like there are so many smaller cities which like Vizag or
right, yeah,
Coimbatore and Mysore.
Right.
You don't need in the top 6, 7, because I think the future of the growth will come from markets which are yet to be tapped.
Yeah, that's where the talent is, or that's where the youth is, or that's where the tens of millions of young boys and girls who want to look for a career. So they should look at AV as a career, right? There is a future in there. And they have a good career arc, I think, in this AV. Tech Varsity, what do you think?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I want to just expand on what Mriddul was talking about. Those were the days when we would walk into complex corporate rooms and there would be no standardization and some other format of the video and audio and connectivity per se. And there would be one chap who would be called an operator, and he would be deployed because he would be deployed in each and every auditorium, each and every boardroom, each and every meeting room. So with the help of technologies now, all the devices with more intelligibility, and AI has actually done wonders to the AV sector already. So if we talk about microphones, and they have the intelligibility, the minute a person walks into the room to pick up what is necessary and cut out the noise. I mean, I know we were talking about this 10 years ago, but where we are now, it's probably no such operators are required anymore,
Right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Annu. So, Annu has pointed out that it's one of the ingredients to unlock the AV growth in the country is to have more AV educated people in an organization who are looking after the AV infrastructure. But I have a loaded question for Kuldip. How much do you think AV equipment manufacturing in India will help unlock AV growth in India? Logic has started manufacturing some LCDs, and we know about some other AV kind of very rudimentary AV manufacturing. So what is your advice?
Honestly, I think manufacturing is the hardest business to be in. I mean, kudos to the folks who try their hand at manufacturing. It's very hard. It is capital intensive, and there's a much longer return on capital expectation. So, I mean, it's very good if there will be many more entrepreneurs who pick up manufacturing in India. I honestly don't have any very pointed comments around manufacturing because I've never done it.
Right. But do you think the country should have a policy for AV manufacturing in India where we make all the critical equipment in India? Do you think that there should be such a policy?
Well, anything boils down to core competency, right? So if there is a sufficient demand, there will be people who will come in and actually stake capital to do it. If there is not sufficient demand, then they won't. Or let me put it this way: they'll end up either getting on the fringes, so they'll end up doing a lot more of the mounts and brackets and stuff like that, or they'll get onto the other end of the spectrum, which is around software.
Right.
So what they may not end up doing is into assembly line manufacturing.
Right, not the critical products. That is a very long, tough call.
They'll be manufacturing, but around the fringe.
Right. We've seen that the companies are getting into mounts first, and that's a little bit saddening, don't you think? Considering that India is we always thump our chest that we are the greatest IT country in the world. We are the most intelligent people. We can engineer anything to hell and back. Why can't we make all these critical products in India?
Does anyone? You guys? Yeah, I think because he'll have something more from a manufacturer.
Let's hope so. Mriddul has something.
See, I think we need to understand one thing, where India is coming from. We've always been dependent upon the West in terms of our technology dependency. So big companies, they came into India, they started educating people, because what we had the people who were getting stuff from XYZ, labeling it and sending it. We had probably a couple of companies in the audio side which were doing it on their own, but was it possible for them? Because as Kuldip sir rightly mentioned, manufacturing is a capital intensive game.
Right.
How many people would actually love to put in their hard-earned money with a longer return of capital timeline? I'm not really sure many. There will be very few. So once you're dependent upon that, and that is where the government's government's role comes into play, wherein they make it more attractive and lucrative for people to start pitching in money.
Okay, I got you into the. So we get an impression that it's going to be a very tough call to have AV growth impetus or AV growth catalyst from manufacturing the critical products in India in the short term, and maybe in the long term that will transpire. But in the very, very short term, I think teaching and training on the standards and proper AV integration knowledge, I think that too focusing in tier 2, tier 3, I think that's what we are getting an impression, right? Kuldip, what is the way forward for us? And that's great. And I just want to give a few notes on my perception of the situation. You see, the government launched a blitzkrieg of World AV Entertainment Show. So from the entire spectrum of AV, the government put its finger on entertainment. And well, I mean, that's great, because the gig economy, and there's a lot of AV that goes into every stage show. There's a lot of integration for audio and video, of course, and may not be as critical as AV in a control room for a fertilizer plant or for an airport, but there is a lot of AV there. Am I right, Kuldip, to say that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think entertainment is definitely
What big catalyst?
A big, yeah. And I think it's also very easy to kind of relate to. So I guess that's where the government
put their finger on that AV.
It's more on, yeah.
And as you all know that we get 25,000 visitors to the Palm AV-ICN Expo, and they're all here for the gig economy. They're all here for displays for entertainment, and they're all here for the professional live sound, and the industry in live sound rental is exploding to the point where there is a lot of investment also now in manufacturing. So market demand is the final arbitrator, and that's no doubt about that. But a lot is happening with the gig economy and with stage shows and with all the rental of equipment and all the integration equipment that goes to integrating AV. Annu, you want to say something?
Yes, absolutely. So, no doubt, entertainment is a very crucial thing for India, like as a market, and the number of international artists that are coming to perform, not just in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities. I mean, we have seen a very, very exponential growth in entertainment in India, coming from an entertainment background as well. So the turnaround time is very less. You have to deliver because there's individuals who have invested, the tickets they buy, and anything goes haywire means then will be held against it. So the standards are really, where we must follow, and they are supposed to be global standards, because not just an international artist, but the international artists along with the crew come to India. For example, a lighting designer, for example, an audio specialist who comes. So their demand from a manufacturing perspective as well as from the services side of it is huge. So yes, there is an incredible upsurge there.
Right. So just to recap, yes, there are some international specialists coming, but overall, my knowledge and understanding of the market as I'm organizing the Palm and the AV-ICN Expo is that Indian system design, stage system design today is being done by all local talent, and they're doing a great job. Some of the best stage shows with a lot of visual integration is happening in India, and not only the foreign artists. There may be some foreign artists, but the economy in India is with Indian artists, and there are Indian artists who command attendees of 1,80,000, 50,000 is common in Punjab in any event that is being organized of a local singer. And they have a fabulous AV integration, and they have lighting, and everything is happening here at a mass level across the whole country. And there's a lot of demand for signage, and there's LEDs and displays. The display market in India, which is very critical to AV, for example, 70% of all exhibitors in ISC were from display and digital signage. We analyzed all the exhibitors at ISC in Barcelona this year. 70% were all on display. And it was hugely dependent on China LEDs. But yes, there was the Samsungs and the LGs are there, the Barcos and Philips are there. But overall, the display market, like you see in the hall, in this hall where we are having this conference, the minute you leave the conference hall, there are about 50 to 60 display companies displaying all the LED technology, all the display technology you can want. Including interactive displays and every other kind of display that is required for an AV integration. So it's a great show for the display side and for the audio side. And what what really is now the growth area for us is the other critical, AV components like the routers and scalers and all of that, Kuldip, which I'm trying to get to the puzzle, solve the puzzle.
It's an entire ecosystem. So it's not just displays or audio systems. There's a lot of there's lighting and there's collaboration. There's a lot of nuance systems as well, including software.
Right, collaboration. Right, and control rooms and all of those critical AV technology products. Right. So, I think we've discussed, and I think the three of us have come up with a solution on unlocking AV growth, if I may say so. Can we take this credit about tier 2, tier T cities with trade schools teaching AV integration as a important task to do, right? Which everybody should involve themselves in.
I think each of us are too small to take any credit.
No, as a panel.
Okay, as a panel, yeah, I guess.
Okay, but we will propose the solution in our platform and in our magazine and try and encourage investment into this aspect of things and see how much we can instigate investment and more tech varsities like Annu's, and which are not so audio focused but also covering the other critical areas with experiential training with the products and make them use it, correct? So that's something good. And I will ask Annu to sell us what she wants to. Yeah, come on, Annu, go ahead.
No, nothing. I just wanted to,
Loudly for the camera.
Okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Enjoy the.
Of course, it's a great initiative, CAVS, that they are conducting, and it's a very disruptive thing that they are doing, and not just audio, they are bringing the other aspects into the same plane: audio, video, all the back-end switches, control systems, each and everything that will empower any small system integrator, individual person who's deploying the system as well, each and every person, because they are not just, a 3-day workshop. They are the best brains out there that have come together and invested their time and with a fraction of a cost. Am I right? So that is something that is a boon to the industry, and we have Palm and, Anil to thank for. And apart from this, what Lewminadio Techversity is doing, it's mostly focusing in audio specific courses, unlike CAVS, because CAVS is giving an entire perspective of integration, and we are mostly into the audio space where an individual can learn the audio fundamentals and be market ready the minute they walk out of the Techversity. So thanks for the initiative of CAVS, and I will definitely recommend, I have been actually recommending as well, and we'll see how to join hands together.
Perfect. We have the same mission. So I will like to thank Kuldip for being part of the panel and sharing with us his thoughts. And they've been very valuable, let me say, and Annu and Mriddul. And I think we've had a good session, so we'll close it at this point. Thank you very, very much.